Alright, I've loved these drawers. They've done what I need them to do pretty well. One fault. These little latches are not as strong as I might want them to be. This one's broken, so this drawer, see how easy that was? Slides around everywhere. I don't know if it's fully engaging on that one. It's probably not. But they're not strong enough. I mean, this weight and this drawer slides freely enough. Oddly enough, because this one's tight, it doesn't. So the latches are still holding. Either way, I'm going to replace them. What I should have done in the first place, using the latches I should have. So I got a set of these, a lot more heavy duty. I would have preferred one without a lock. A lot of the other ones like this had a key lock in there. I don't want that. This is interior to my truck. It's not exterior. I don't need it to be locking. I'm not going to keep anything but tools in here. Other guys might want them locking because they're keeping firearms or whatever. I don't. I don't keep things like that in my truck. But these, get them cut in and get them to where they will latch. Should be thick enough. I still haven't really fully measured everything out, how it's going to be. That will be somewhat interior. I'm going with 3/4 inch plywood on the outside. And again, the way I made these, you can see these screws, I just pull them out and remount the new boards as drawer fronts. So that's what I'm up to. And get those in a much stronger latch. It's got a gasket, that's nice, but not totally necessary in this application. And again, this is interior to the truck. But this should do. Okay, there you go. I got a drawer faces on, got the cutouts done. Just used my plunge saw for that. The thing about these plunge saw blades, I don't know if you can see how worn out those teeth get pretty fast just cutting through, and obviously that's just a wood blade and I'm going through layers of fiberglass that are on the drawers themselves. That one's not a bad hole. I let this one get away from me. It's about a 1/4 inch bigger than I need. It's supposed to be 3 1/4 inches. It's about 3 1/2. So we'll play games to get that secured. I can get it done, no problem. And you can see when I was doing that, I used shims, just regular old plastic door shims to keep these up, and I'm trying to keep it smooth and level across the top of the box, not really caring because the truck itself does funny things down here. But looking at the top of that, it actually looks pretty good and clean. Alright, got them all cut out, everything done. I'll admit my mistake. I did have to do 2 of those because screwed up on my opening on that one, which is probably better anyway, because you see where I tried Gorilla Glue, there is a check going through in one of the ply layers that went all the way through. fairly successfully filled it here. Thing about Gorilla Glue, you notice that looks a lot like spray foam, right? It's the same kind of chemistry. So I filled it in here pretty decently. Just sand it all off, it'll be good to go. But once it's sanded, I got it built up on these towers so I can actually spray the underside so I can get all this sprayed in one shot. I don't need full coverage on the back side, but I do want to wrap around a little bit so that none of the edges will chip off. Yeah, I still got some sanding to do. Places, this is cheap Home Depot plywood, and that's not a bad piece, but you can see how that check in there goes all the way through. It's where two pieces of ply came together and they have a gap in them. It goes all the way through there. So I'm filling it that way. This piece was a little better. It's got some knots in here. It's like the factory put its own filler in. And I've got that hole a lot more like what I want. Oddly enough, because I cut, it is not on the center line. It's just off center. You can see that, but it'll work. I'll be fine for what I need. So yeah, let's just get back to sanding these down. Getting rid of all this excess stuff. That should fill in pretty well. Gorilla Glue is nice stuff that way because that is rock solid. And if I've got that all throughout inside there where that check was, I'm good to go. All right, let's get back to it. Alright, all sanded down, edges all rounded over. I want my edges rounded over. Kind of difficult with this cheap Home Depot stuff because it keeps checking on the edge. But it'll be alright. Hopefully it'll all cover up. What I'm going to use today, Kills. I've used this stuff for years. It's great for priming wood. I'm hoping that'll give me what I need to get the Raptor 2K to actually stick. And I haven't used this stuff yet. And I was in the store buying it. This is black. They make white, which would have changed the entire destiny of this truck. Had I found this, back in 2014 when the white paint started peeling, I'd have done the hood, the roof, and the back doors with these cans. I totally would have. Probably would have been better to just buy the actual kit and a compressor, but back then I was in an apartment building, didn't have a garage, didn't have a compressor. I would have done it with these. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how these work. These are the kind you got the little puncture deal there to get part A to mix with part B, and then it sprays out. First though, we get the Kills in. And you notice these towers I've built on, I've got it so I can actually get top and then a wrap around to the bottom side. So here we go. Alright, if you've never used Kills before, you absolutely positively want to be masked up when you do. It's pretty potent stuff. It's great for woodwork. I got a nice thick coat on there. Let all that cure for a couple hours, and then I'll go after it with the RaptorLiner. That should be good. Like I said, you definitely want to be masked up with a good charcoal filter style mask, not just a freaking N95 or any other simple dust masks. The actual filtration. And you notice I got the garage door open. That way I got plenty of ventilation, so the fumes have already dissipated throughout the neighborhood. But yeah, we'll let these dry. Let all this cure. But man, you put that on there, it shows you how cheap that freaking plywood is. I can see all the check marks in the ply. It's sanded plywood, so it's okay. It's not CDX, so it's not really, really rough, but alright, they dry. Then we get to the next step. Okay, initial impressions. Started with that piece. It's one of the rear door panels. That's the worst one because the first bit of it freaking came out globby there and there. That actually turned out pretty good. That's the other door panel. And it's got exactly the finish I think you would want out of RaptorLiner. If you can hear my feet, this stuff, you look at the tracks, it does go everywhere. It's all over the place. It falls down. I don't see that I got any on the truck or anything else around here, but good night, that's irritating. But finish on these panels, nah, not quite what I would want, but it's enough. I don't feel like opening up another can. You got 60 minutes to use the can once you've combined the two parts. We'll let this cure for an hour. Okay, I did in fact go after it with the second can. I made this panel look a whole lot better. This time around, I made sure I was shooting at the box and then up with that first initial squirt, because that first squirt comes out funny. But yeah, a lot more even coverage, a lot more even texturing. So 2 cans for all 4 of these panels. I got up underneath on those ones. So it's got the 360 wrap except for where those tubs are at. Otherwise, yeah, I'm going to let this dry for a couple hours and then I'm going to reassemble. But I think this looks a heck of a lot better than the Duplicolor stuff did. I mean, the Duplicolor bed liner I've been using for decades, and it's decent enough for a 1K paint. But this being 2K is supposed to be a lot stronger. So we'll see. We'll see over the next several months and years how this does for me. But you can see what it does not fill in is the checks in the plywood. This particular sheet's very disappointing. Almost to where you'd want to take some freaking Bondo if you're doing something like this and you want a better finish. You'd almost have to. You'd have to fill that in with some Bondo, and I could do that in the future. I might do that. But Bondo in those checks, sand everything down smooth, and then hit it with another 2 coats of this stuff. That's something I could do. Alright, there we go. New handles in. I think if I were to do it over again, I'd do 2 handles on this one. Just grabbing it from the center, I guess it kind of works. This drawer's always been tight anyway. It'd be nice to have 2 hands. But I just put some simple angle iron in there. Canted it a little bit so it gets tighter as it turns. And that engages the latch in there. Notice it says it takes 3 days to fully cure. So somewhere in my loading and unloading I scratched off a layer, which sucks, but oh well. But yeah. So now, shove it, lock it. And this one, no, it's fairly tight. That drawer's always been tight anyway. The one that was the problem was this drawer. When its latch broke, it would slam around everywhere. And now, nice and tight. If you notice what was in that box that is not in here, there's no way I could get that latch in there with that divider piece back there, and with all of this much more mechanism, my toolbox doesn't fit anymore, or my wrenches and ratchets and all that. So kind of a pisser, but it's yet one more thing to push me towards rebuilding drawers and building them again in a different way. I'll build them to fit this box, but obviously that extra distance I had in there we'll take care of, and we'll take care of how to actually get my toolbox back on this side where I want it. So I want tools and recovery this side. Other possible things I need in there, like the electrical box and things like that, are in there. But stay tuned. Who knows when I'll actually get around to doing that. I may ride like this for a year or more. Nice and tight. Could be locked if I wanted to, but I won't. Now it makes me want to paint all that stuff on the box itself black. But it is what it is, and I've got it in there. That should sit. I do like the look of this RaptorLiner. It's all 4 of those pieces, 2 cans, it's done. But yeah, as you can see, I'm packing up and I'm getting ready to head out in the mountains tomorrow. So if you've come this far, appreciate you watching. Hope it did you some good. Gives you something to think about if you're going to use RaptorLiner. If I did it all over again, I'd have pulled out the Bondo. But overall, I'd say yes, I will be using that stuff again. I think it's a pretty good product. Either way, appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.